You are lying in a hospital bed in Princeton. It is the early morning of April 18th, 1955. Your chest burns as if a star were collapsing inside your abdominal aorta. The aneurysm, a biological time bomb you have carried for years, has finally ruptured. You refuse surgery. You tell the doctors in that thick German accent you never lost. It is in bad taste to prolong life artificially. You choose to die. As the nurse adjusts the sheet, you murmur a few words in German. She frowns. She doesn't understand the language. Your last words, the final equation of your soul, dissipate in the sterile air, lost forever to the entropy of the universe. The world calls you the greatest genius in history. They print your face on t-shirts, mugs, and motivational posters. But as the darkness advances over your peripheral vision, you do not feel like an idol. You feel like a man who deciphered light, but died in the shadow of his own creation. The equation that made you immortal is the same one that incinerated 100,000 people in a flash of white light. This is the price of seeing what no one else saw, carrying the guilt that no one else understands. The world around you is a chaos of sounds and textures that you, still a child in Munich, prefer to avoid. You are slow to speak. Your parents exchange worried glances at the dinner table, the clinking of silverware sounding like gongs in your sensitive ears. The housekeeper calls you der Deperte, the stupid one, when she thinks you aren't listening. But you hear. You hear everything. The problem isn't that you don't understand the world. It's that the world is too slow, too noisy, and too disorganized for the silent symphony beginning to play inside your head. You are 5 years old when the miracle happens. Your father brings you a pocket compass. The object is cold, metallic, smelling of aged brass. You hold it. The needle trembles, floats, pointing insistently toward north. You spin your body. The needle resists. You run in circles. The needle remains faithful to an invisible force. A shudder runs down your spine, a physical, electric sensation. Space is not empty. There is something there, something invisible that pushes, pulls, and commands matter. In that moment, on the living room rug, reality shatters for you. The veil lifts. You don't know it yet, but this childlike obsession with invisible forces will, decades later, cause your own brain to be stolen from your corpse, cut into 240 pieces, and kept in preserving jars in a futile attempt by science to find where, biologically, this curiosity that was just born resided. School is torture. The Prussian system demands obedience, marching, repetition. You hate authority with the fury of a caged animal. The teachers demand that you memorize battle dates. You want to know what time is. An instructor tells you that you will never amount to anything. You quit school, renounce German citizenship, becoming stateless. Freedom tastes like fresh air in the Swiss Alps, but carries the bitter scent of initial academic failure. You fail the entrance exam for the Zurich Polytechnic. The failed genius. The irony is delicious, but at the time, it tastes like ashes in your mouth. When you finally get in, you meet Mileva Maric. She is different. She is Serbian, limps, is melancholic, and brilliant. She understands the mathematics you intuit. You read books together, shoulder to shoulder, the scent of chalk dust and old books wrapping around you like a cocoon. You fall in love not just with bodies, but with minds. You have an illegitimate daughter, Liesl, before marriage, and here begins the first great blackout in your history. The girl disappears from the records. Given up for adoption, dead from scarlet fever, you never see her? The first equation you cannot solve is that of fatherhood. You bury this secret so deep that historians will only discover it 70 years after your death, graduated but unemployed. The genius can't land an academic post. You end up at a patent office in Bern, the smell of fresh ink, the sound of stamps pounding the paper, the suffocating boredom. But it is in this boredom that your mind takes flight. While your colleagues analyze technical drawings of water pumps and gears, you are traveling at the speed of light. You imagine yourself riding a beam of light. If you hold a mirror in front of your face while traveling at the speed of light, does the reflection show up? Does time stop? It is in 1905, the Annus Mirabilis, in your spare time, between one patent and the next, With the smell of cheap tobacco saturating your clothes, you rewrite the universe. 4 papers: the photoelectric effect, Brownian motion, special relativity, and mass energy equivalence. You write E equals mc squared on a piece of paper. The ink dries fast. It looks harmless, just letters and numbers. You feel the elegance of the formula, the symmetrical beauty of how energy and matter are the same dance performed, at different rhythms. What you don't sense, what your cosmic intuition fails to predict, is the smell of burning flesh and ozone that this tiny line of ink will unleash upon the world 40 years in the future. For now, it is just a beautiful idea. Glory doesn't come fast, but when it hits, it is overwhelming. 1919, the solar eclipse. Arthur Eddington confirms your general theory of relativity. Starlight bends around the sun, exactly as you predicted. Practically overnight, you stop being a physicist and become an icon. The world, exhausted by the carnage of the First World War, needs something transcendent, and finds in you, with your disheveled hair and sad eyes, a new secular saint. Camera flashes erupt on your face like constant supernovas. New York, London, Paris, Berlin. Women faint at your lectures, kings request audiences. You smile for the cameras, putting on the mask of the absent-minded, kindly professor. But at home, gravity is crushing everything. Your marriage to Mileva has become a Cold War zone. The intellectual collaboration morphed into bitter resentment. You, the man who explained how time is relative, have no time for the woman who helped build your foundation. To maintain the marriage, you write a brutal contract. This is not an elegant equation. It is a list of cruel demands that you hand to her on cold paper. You will ensure my clothes are in order. You will serve 3 meals in my room. You will renounce all personal relations with me. You will not expect any intimacy. You treat the mother of your children like an unwanted employee. The coldness with which you dissect the universe is the same coldness with which you dissect your home. She accepts, humiliated for a time. Then she leaves. You marry your cousin, Elsa. She is the opposite of Mileva, maternal, non-intellectual, willing to manage the Einstein enterprise. She cares for you as if you were a precious, incapable child. You like that. It allows you to float in the abstract clouds while she deals with solid ground. But the family price keeps rising. Your youngest son, Edouard Tete, starts hearing voices. The voices aren't about physics. They are schizophrenia. He idolizes you, but you pull away. His madness is a distorted mirror of your genius, and you can't stand to look. You visit less and less. You write letters about the expansion of the universe, but you cannot write one single sentence of real comfort for your son who is undergoing electroshock treatments in a sanatorium in Zurich. A crazy son, you confess to a friend, is something I don't feel capable of handling. The man who embraced the cosmos turns his back on his own blood. While you are celebrated as the most brilliant mind alive, the Germany around you begins to rot. Anti-Semitism, which had always been background noise, becomes a deafening roar. They call your physics Jewish physics. They burn your books in public bonfires, the paper of your theories turning into black smoke. In the Berlin skies, you feel the danger on your skin, a tingling that has nothing to do with static electricity. You know you have to leave. You pack up your life, your violin, your papers. You leave Europe, never to return. Landing in America, in Princeton, you find peace, manicured gardens, and wooden houses. But the silence is deceptive. Across the ocean, your German colleagues, men you knew, with whom you drank coffee and discussed quantum mechanics, are now working for Hitler. They have discovered nuclear fission. They are trying to turn your beautiful equation, E equals mc squared, into a weapon. You walk through the Princeton woods in the fall, the dry leaves crunching under your shoes, trying to focus on the unified field theory, trying to find the mind of God. But the devil is knocking on your door in the form of Leo Szilard. It is the summer of 1939. The heat on Long Island is humid and sticky. Szilard and Wigner come to you. They don't bring equations to review. They bring terror. They explain that the Nazis might build a bomb capable of destroying an entire city. They need your voice. Only your signature carries enough weight to wake up President Roosevelt. You hesitate. You are a pacifist. You once said, "My pacifism is an instinctive feeling, a feeling that overpowers me because murder is repugnant." But the idea of Hitler having the bomb is a nightmare that overrides your principles. You sit down on the porch, the wood creaking under your weight. You pick up the pen. The metal feels heavy, heavier than any instrument you have ever held. You sign the letter. The ink flows. Albert Einstein. With this simple, 2-second gesture, you set the Manhattan Project in motion. You think you are creating a deterrent, a shield for democracy. In cruel historical reality, you just authorized the birth of Godzilla. The following years are years of isolation. The American government does not trust you. J. Edgar Hoover's FBI opens a file on you that will grow to almost 2,000 pages. They see you as a security risk, a socialist, a radical. You are not invited to Los Alamos. You don't see the bomb being built. You remain in Princeton, a white-haired old sage, knitting theories that no longer work, while young physicists use your 1905 findings to create hell on Earth. Then, the day arrives. August 6, 1945. You are taking an afternoon nap on your porch. Your secretary, Helen Dukas, comes to you. Her face is pale, her lips trembling. She tells you what the radio just announced. Hiroshima, a city evaporated, children, buildings, shadows etched into the asphalt. You hear the sound of the cicadas in the garden. The world keeps turning, indifferent. But inside you, something fundamentally breaks. The first thing you say is a low, guttural moan. Oh, way! Woe is me! The pain is physical. It is a nausea rising from your gut. You realize with terrifying clarity that the pen you used to write equations about light was the same one that signed the death warrant for thousands. In the years remaining to you, the price of greatness becomes unbearable. You become a ghost in life, haunting the halls of the Institute for Advanced Study. You watch the arms race begin. You see politicians talk about megatons as if they were spare change from the bakery. You try to stop the train you helped push downhill. You write, you speak, you plead for world government, for disarmament. They applaud you, smile at the eccentric old man, and keep building bigger bombs. Your personal life ends in silence. Mileva dies alone in Europe. Edouard dies in the sanitarium, never having seen his father again since his departure from Europe. Elsa is already gone. You are surrounded by strangers who worship the myth but do not know the man. You walk with Kurt Gödel, the paranoid logician, and you discuss politics and time. Two exiles from reality trying to understand why the world is so crazy. April 1955. The aneurysm throbs. You know this is the end. The hospital is white, clean, impersonal. The pain is sharp, but your mind remains lucid, floating above the decaying body. You ask for your glasses and paper. Even on the brink of death, you try to finish the unified field theory. You scribble Greek symbols on the paper with a trembling hand. You want to unite gravity and electromagnetism. You want to read the mind of God one last time. But the equations don't close. The ink runs out. The paper falls from your hand. It is the only thing you couldn't solve. The universe holds its final secret, gently mocking you. You close your eyes. There is no tunnel of light, only the curvature of space-time enveloping you. You think of the violin. You think of your father's compass. You wonder if Edouard was cold in the sanitarium. You die at 1:15 in the morning. The world loses its most precious mind. But the final indignity is yet to come. You left clear instructions. Cremation, no grave, no cult following. You wanted to disappear, but the pathologist on duty, Thomas Harvey, driven by a mix of reverence and scientific greed, opens your skull. He saws through the bone. He lifts the gray matter, damp, heavy, fatally common in appearance. He steals it. He takes your brain home, puts it in glass jars with formaldehyde, and hides it in a cider box beneath a beer refrigerator for decades. You never knew this, of course, but it is the perfect final irony for your life. You, who longed for the total freedom of the spirit, ended up having your own physical matter imprisoned sliced and studied as a laboratory specimen, traveling in the trunk of a car through the American heartland. The man who expanded the universe was reduced to microscopic slices on a glass slide. Today, when we look at your photo, that famous one with the tongue sticking out, we laugh. We see the world's grandfather, the eccentric genius. We don't see the husband who demanded silence, the father who abandoned his son to madness, the pacifist who armed the hand of genocide. Greatness exacted every piece of simple humanity from you in exchange for the keys to the cosmos. And now, floating in the stardust, you explained, the question remains, echoing in the curved vacuum of space. Was it worth understanding everything about energy, yet so little about love? Perhaps the answer is the only variable that E equals mc squared cannot calculate. You lived this life, but there is another one waiting for you, another choice, another destiny, another truth that nobody told you. The next life is right next door. Can you handle it? If this life left its mark on you, drop a like. Share this so others can experience what you just felt. And subscribe, because every week you become someone new. History won't wait, will you?